What is going on, everybody? This is the Cloud9 podcast, season 4, episode 6. We are going to be talking about the LCS 2022 summer split regular season. It is over, it is done. We are now going to be moving on to the LCS 2022 summer split playoffs. There's a lot to discuss. We had gone through super weeks for the LEC and the LCS. I'd actually ended up scheduling the LEC episode this week. As you guys already know, I put out the episodes, to do for shows on StreamYards, obviously. But then I realized to myself, the LEC traditionally always takes a week off before they start playoffs, which is a nice little break from the regular season, as you guys already know. So, I thought to myself, you know what? There's no need to do 2 episodes this week. We can just do 2 episodes of the show coming into next week, because that's when the LEC will begin their playoffs. It also is a nice little break for me as well, because as you guys already know, we obviously watch most of the regions anyway. So having that little nice week break is actually pretty good, all things considered. So my thing here is talking about all these teams is going to be not really pretty difficult, because I've literally watched every single game they've actually played. It's going to be crazy because, like looking at some of these like bottom tier teams, it's going to be really disgusting to see these guys play. Because if you look at just how the playoffs work versus how like some of these teams have actually been playing, you're going to think to yourself, why is any of these teams even allowed in playoffs? So one of the more interesting discussions is actually based around, should the LCS even allow 8 teams in for summer as opposed to spring? But people do have to factor in, the difference between spring and summer is very big. Spring, you're just only going to MSI. I'm not discounting MSI, but it is just MSI, but for summer, it's a lot more bigger implications, because you are obviously going to be going to Worlds if your team performs very well. So I think allowing in 2 other teams makes sense, specifically when it comes to the summer split angle of it. But I'm going to be completely honest with most of you guys here who are obviously going to watch this, on the replay as well. It doesn't really matter if they let in 2 more teams. Usually these teams that are about 7th and 8th, they don't really do anything anyway. Like, I'm just going to be completely honest here. I think a lot of people literally have to understand that teams that bad usually don't do anything. I mean, yeah, there is a good chance, that they could actually, go on some miracle run, but I really don't think that's even possible, honestly, for teams like Golden Guardians and teams like TSM. I mean, maybe TSM have something in them to actually potentially, go on some sort of a miracle run. Maybe, but give or take about where they're actually going to be, because they're going to play the loser of Team Liquid versus Fly, and then obviously either matchup TSM gets is going to be pretty bad for them. And then it doesn't bode well for Golden Guardians either, because of the loser out of this match is going to play them. And last time Cloud9 faced Golden Guardians in the playoffs, which was during the LCS 2022 spring split playoffs, Cloud9 easily just destroyed them. So I don't think it's really something a lot of the people that watch League of Legends should really consider themselves. Is look at this from this point of view. The teams that are this bad are not going to do shit, honestly, and remember, they only have 1 shot to do well. They literally only have 1 shot to do well and advance to the next round, but they're constantly in this angle of no losers bracket. And we've seen these teams perform over the course of the split. And let's be honest here, Golden Guardians is going to be out in the first round. Most people are predicting that. Most people, well, I would say most sane people who have watched their games would know they're going to be definitely out in the first round. So I don't really actually bat to that narrative myself of, oh my goodness, why are there 8 teams allowed in the playoffs? I mean, I did think about that before, but to me personally, it really doesn't matter when the strength of these teams is so low that you think to yourself, any team with any amount of better players any amount of better team coordination, and it's North America, so it's obviously still going to be like pretty low in that aspect alone. It's not going to matter. It's just not. Like, if anyone thinks that Golden Guardians are making it past the first round, you're probably a crackhead. TSM, if they actually, I don't even know. It's one of these things where, like, yeah, maybe in a perfect world, TSM, like defeats the loser out of Team Liquid versus Fly, but I just don't see it. Like, let's say if Flyquest upset Team Liquid. Let's say they do. You really think Team Liquid's going to be losing to TSM? Probably not. I just don't personally see it. But that's, how I personally see it right now. Let me actually see. Sean is supposed to be joining. I don't know if his internet is out or something like that. But if you guys are watching the stream, if it just so happens to be me today, make sure to smash the like button. Anyone who's here right now watching, make sure you smash the like button. It greatly helps out. I'm going to go over some of the changes that I made to the channel. So I'll let you guys know about that in just a moment. But if you are watching on YouTube, because we are able to stream this show between YouTube and Twitch, when we do them, just make sure you obviously like the stream. Definitely helps, supports the stream, and it definitely pushes it up for the people that want to see other esports content pertaining to League of Legends. So, yep. Let me actually explain the channel name that I changed it to. I felt like that was the best channel name change for the channel specifically. When I first started this channel with my friend, that was just a name that I just came up with randomly called Way of Life Esports. I personally think it was a really cool name, honestly, but I thought to myself, it's time for a change, and I personally feel like we do a ton of esports content pertaining to League of Legends. So the name change, I think, is something that I was more aligned with as the more I thought about it. So I thought about it at work and I pondered it to myself. Okay, I'll end up changing it, that was for this channel. The channel's icon and icon is actually going to be changing, and the channel's logo is just going to look a whole lot different. I have to go on Fiverr, because I usually use Fiverr when it comes to that stuff. I have to go on Fiverr and use the same person I did for my main YouTube channel, because as you guys already know, this is my second YouTube channel. I only have the other one, which is, variety, content, entertainment, another channel where I made a name change, and it's actually been really beneficial. I feel like this name change is going to encompass all the content that we do, and it also is going to allow us to, hopefully stand out amongst other people, which is really hard because it's something you have to go through, because when you're this much into a section of content that is pretty saturated when it comes to doing this kind of stuff, you have to kind of stand out in some way, and you don't always have to stand out in certain ways that I've realized over the years, but it ends up happening the way it does because Big Daddy MSK over here knows how to make YouTube content.
You don't know how to do shit.
God damn, this guy's mean.
Okay, I swear to God, every fucking time right before it. Yeah, you don't want to know what happened now?
Your internet go out again?
Now some bitch fucking neighbor, one of them was yelling too loud and arguing somebody to the point where I had to go fucking get somebody to deal with it, and it took 25 minutes.
Why didn't you go out there and pull out your knife?
Well, you see, I want to save her for special occasions. It takes a while to clean. It might be
yeah,
I might get some rust on it. I don't want to risk it for shit like that.
Hi, I can't pronounce your name at all. Isn't cool. How are you, man? How are you doing? I can't pronounce your name, but how are you doing, sir? How are you doing?
Wait, bring it up. I can do it.
I'm pretty sure it isn't cool.
It isn't. Just say isn't Qdoba. Isn't that easy?
Okay, I'll go with that one. Isn't Qdoba. Hello, sir. How you guys doing? So yeah, the channel's gonna have a new logo, and it's gonna have a new banner. I'm gonna commission the guy that I utilize for my main YouTube channel on Fiverr later on tonight when I get back home, because tonight I'm gonna go watch Dragon Ball Super Superhero because my movie theater actually got it, and I was like, okay, I'll be there. I gotta head out in about a couple of hours. So I thought to myself, I got a chance to get off early from work today. We come home, we do the show because I wasn't gonna have time later on to do the show when I got back. I'm just not. I'm gonna be so busy doing other videos. I have like 2 other videos I still need to do. Yeah, they're about no. I actually have 3 videos to do. You factor in because I do a spoiler-free review after doing my vlog, and I have to edit my vlog as well. So, yeah, I'm gonna be busy with content creation. Pretty much after this is over, so we won't have time for the episode tonight. So I thought to myself, yeah, I'll just get off work and we'll just knock it out. So yeah, the channel name change, I like it. I think it's gonna work out fine. It worked out fine on my main YouTube channel. It's something that I put a lot of thought and effort into, and that's pretty much it. Let's start talking about some LCS actually. All right, so let's just start at the bottom and work our way up. I don't even know what to say about Dignitas. I really, really don't.
Yeah, also, I have one question, though. If you're just going to do League of Legends esports, then didn't you just want to call it something like that instead?
That's what I thought about, too, honestly. But I'll probably
I mean, you could always do more. Like, do you watch CSGO at all, or Valor?
Or watch Smash.
Or Rainbow Six?
Rainbow Six? That's for losers. What are you talking about?
You said you watched the TSM team, you fucking dumbass.
That was Chaz.
Oh, well, whatever.
Do all black guys blend into you or something, sir?
Well, listen, only on a Thursday.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord.
Okay, but okay. Yeah, Dignitas, fuck's sake.
I don't even know where to start. I
imagine if they just kept their roster. They could have made playoffs.
Maybe. Probably. Oh, shit. Oh, shit, this team is so bad. I wish...
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Hoon's the best top laner in the league. What are you talking about?
I literally don't even know what to say about this team right now. I mean, God, there's this game we have to go over between Dig and Golden Guardians that made me actually want to just literally blow my brains out.
And Golden Guardians had no fucking right win in that. It was literally just because of draft.
I don't think either team had a right to win any game.
But Dignitas was clearly better. It was literally just draft.
Guardians.
How bad is your region when a team on an 8-game losing streak that is easily the worst in the entire league, even with River and a Blaze Olive, fucking makes playoffs? Just because Immortals and Dig choked when it mattered against the bad teams, and because they had a bad start.
Okay, so usually when teams do this bad, what do you even attribute this to? Bad management, bad scouting. I mean, there's so many. I just don't know. Because I'm so used to them being at this level that it's just baffling to me that they actually could have made playoffs if their jungler actually had a brain. Yeah. Not just their jungler. If their team was not just super horseshit. But to be fair, Golden Guardians did also really throw too. That game was horrible. Everyone who watched the game live, that literally robbed me of existence that I could have utilized my time wasted watching that could have been I've been doing anything else. Having sex with my wife, beating off, literally anything.
Yeah, the funny thing is their best 2 players play the same role ADC, so you can only put one in. That's the funny thing about Dig.
Yeah, like
that's how bad constructed their team is.
They looked somewhat more cohesive with Neo, but I don't know what happened to him. Wasn't he isn't he Vietnam or Korean? Maybe he had a situation.
He's from Vietnam, but he's an NA resident and been for ages.
Okay, maybe they. I don't want to assume stuff. But
I mean, what I will say with Neo, he is a bit. His playstyle is a little bit more high risk, you should say, and also his builds sometimes aren't the best, and his call-in in game, kind of like Berserker, isn't too great. Because, I don't know, but he's. I don't really understand. No, he was good, and Spawn, solid as well. But unless they thought that it was just a better fit with Biofrost, and I can understand it. Otherwise, I wouldn't understand it because he was their best player besides Biofrost. But at the start, then I could see it okay, they are a better bot lane duo. Okay, but then in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it was just or 2 weeks, it was just they just became awful. I don't care.
I mean, I'll say this about them. I think they were always going to end up toward the bottom anyway.
I thought they would get 10th easily. I don't get it.
Like even in spring, they were like the wins they got were not good. That shit was sloppy and unconvincing as hell.
Yes, and let's all talk about Lock-In when they somehow beat 100 Thieves.
And then this split, you're thinking like, okay, they have Gamsu, they don't have Fake God. That should stabilize their team at least enough to get them into playoffs. I think personally, if they had kept Gamsu, they could have probably made playoffs. Or at least kept Gamsu and Neo. If they had kept the roster they had, they probably most likely made playoffs. That's sad because that's a shitty team. That is a
like,
really
here's the
bad
thing.
team.
I understand what they were doing with the academy players, but those are like two of the worst players in academy. If they were at least like decent, I would understand. I mean, XU had potential at first, but he definitely did not really reach it. I mean, he does have a bigger champion pool than River, but still, you gotta just play to your strength with how well River was doing on stuff like Jarvan. It's better to just roll with him and then replace him next year. And you probably make playoffs. And I still don't like, again, Gamsu wasn't like a good top laner. Yeah, he's like he was at least what Astralis was hoping for with his Achachi, but he at least did his job as a decent weak side, veteran guy that at least sustained his lane enough. Like, that was better than fucking Fake God and fucking Hoon. I don't understand why they thought Hoon was better. Oh my god.
Bad management. I mean, bad gameplay. Guys, there's so many things I could say. I don't know where to start. They're just so bad. This was outside of their 100 Thieves upsets this year, and just that, Dignitas has just been the worst. One of the worst orgs in the league, one of the worst teams in the league. Yeah, didn't they make playoffs last split, actually? No, they didn't. No, I'm pretty sure they did. No, they didn't. No way they fucking didn't. No way they didn't. No,
they got 7th.
Golden I remember they barely.
By one game. Yeah, they did beat 100 Thieves in the last game, but then, Golden Guardians won that.
Yeah, I remember they had the head-to-head. Yep, you're right. Okay, so coming into this split, they got Gamsu because Fake God was just too heavy. Let's say very heavy is an understatement. He was just literally a fucking boulder. You're lifting a boulder, actually. So they bring in Gamsu, who had been playing very well in Proving Grounds Academy, make this whole esports, you could say, trip back to League. He was in League, Overwatch, came back to League, came back to be a part of the LCS. Then they benched him for Hoon. Hoon is just complete dog shit. Then they get rid of River because the amount of money Golden Guardians were offering for River, because they said the amount of money that Golden Guardians were offering for River was just insane. So they they literally give up their best player, actually. They give up one of the best players, actually. Then they bring in Zayu, right? He's not good. Blue had some okay games this split, maybe a few games on Victor. He looked pretty good. I don't know. He had a few standout games. Maybe. We're talking standout against teams like this. We're talking teams like this, not teams like this. Teams like this.
This is just so bad. Holy fuck!
Biofrost makes his return back to the LCS. He took that break for a little bit because he wanted to work on his mental state. He wants to kind of take a break from the LCS. He comes to Dignitas and it's just all bad. This team, this org is bad.
Yeah, Biofrost deserve better. Holy fuck!
I still think Spawn maybe might turn into a Luger-esque player if he was on a different team.
I mean, honestly, he's getting up there in age. Is there much room? He's already 25.
That's my thing, dude. It's why do they keep making decisions like this? Last fucking summer split, they trade out Saligo and Dardoch for Acadian and Saligo.
Yes, and I never understood people Yasui. I understood the move with Yasui. It's what the fuck are you talking about?
Dardoch alone was carrying them so hard. Yes. He was an MVP candidate.
Yes, I mean, that was idiot, but he decided to go Hulk mode on a Riot employee or some shit, but holy fuck though. But with Saligo, I do not understand people at the time saying they understood the move. What are you talking about?
Stupid. I get it.
At best, Dardoch, they are even at best. But
yeah,
Saligo, you had a different play style as Saligo, one that did not fit the mold of their team. Saligo brought so much, right? His game knowledge around the map, he wasn't the best player, but
he knew his role was facilitating anything Dardoch wanted to do.
Yeah, he was basically DeMonte when he was good at one point.
And then they do the same thing this summer split. They start changing up their roster when they feel like they can't make playoffs. What's crazy is that they changed out Saligo and Dardoch for Yasui and Acadian when they had a better chance last year's split of making playoffs, and they still didn't make playoffs. This year, they swap out like 3/5 of their roster week 6 or 7 into the fucking regular season, hoping that they're going to make playoffs when it's like, no, there's no way your team is going to end up gelling like that. There's no way. Like, man, badly managed. Bad players, just bad.
I mean, what I will say is at least their brand and the respective players have at least unlike the Dignitas in the past, all about them. How bunch of fucking assholes they were, and I don't know how much like fans they have online, but they have at least been trying with that, ever since coming into the league, and they did have a lot like when they a good amount when they first came into it. So I'll at least give them credit there, but just like on the obviously just the team based, like it is horribly managed. Like, and this happened literally the moment they came into the league, the moment they rebranded from Clutch Gaming, the Dignitas, they gave Hooney that giant contract which made players just not go there. So they had to sign all those washed up players, and then fucking Johnson from TSM, like what was it?
Yeah. I remember that they gave Hooney so much money potentially, or it wasn't like a guaranteed contract, but the budget that they had, Hooney took up so much of it that they could barely get any other players. It's like, what?
Yeah, so they had to get Greg Froggen at that point in their fucking careers.
They actually comparatively to how bad their fucking spending was for Hooney, they got Froggen, Afromu, Greg.
Yes, and it worked at the start because it's sort of like, when that Flyquest roster, when they first came into the league because enough veterans, but they still missed playoffs. But, and Greg fucking, I don't understand why they didn't just start Acadian, but whatever. But, and Froggen at that point in their careers was just a no. And then Afromu at least improved again, and, Johnson worked out. But still, it was so bad they had to get all those washed up players. They were without teams for like months, and then a fucking guy from TSM Amateurs, who was like who only just started playing even games on there for like 2 weeks. It's like it was insane. And then fucking hell. I mean, I will say though, Greg. I mean, Armeo has been doing really well. I wonder if he's gonna get a chance again. Who knows? Like, he's just been stomping with TSM Academy. Like, you could say it's his mid and bot duo. That's the main reason. But
sorry about that. I was just changing. If you guys refresh the stream, the new title is there. Sorry, there's supposed to be another topic there. But supposed to have them all filled out, but I forgot because I was actually very busy earlier today. So yeah. Dignitas,
the great Our Mayo.
yeah, because Sean's accent, I was like, wait, are you talking about the great man?
Well, I pronounced it right, Armeo. I think it was a mix. I think it was a mix because also my mic's kind of fucked.
Yeah, so guys, okay, so rest in peace, Dignitas. We will not be seeing them until the LCS 2023 spring split. That's when we'll see them next. In other news,
the grass is green. What do you want me to say? Like, holy fuck.
Okay, what if Dignitas go out there and they sign Closer from Live Sandbox?
That's never gonna happen. What the fuck are you? That's like
that parody.
That's like that parody video of that guy did who was on. I forgot his name, but he was on like the podcast with Doran and I Will Dominate. That one. Guy. And he did a parody video on his channel on April Fools of Faker going to Dignitas. And
God.
There's also a thing like he had to take up 2 slots on their roster. It's like, okay, I choose Afromu and Neo. Then I choose Saligo because he played with Tyler 1, so he's a friend with me. You can play top lane. Anyway, I'll play mid lane and gank for myself in the jungle.
Yeah. Hey man, that is true. It's just that's true. I mean, they had someday back in the day when they actually tried to be competitive in the league. This is back when they tried to be competitive. I don't think any player is going to want to go to Dig knowing how bad their teams are. You know what? I already kind of knew this, but it got kind of furthermore confirmed when I was watching some other content creators for the league space, actually, is certain players will only go to your org based off who you have. like, when Bjergsen was on TSM, and a lot of people only went to TSM because of Bjergsen. Any player on Dignitas really gonna grab big, like, the players on your roster are to also attract other players in the offseason coming up to join your team. No players on this roster right now are going to be anything eye-catching to get any of the better players. The only good players they have on this team is Blue and Biofrost, and Blue is so underwhelming, and Biofrost is not, he's never been the best support. He's always been, pretty average, so to speak. So I think if Dig really want to go into the route of what CLG did this split to actually, improve, because CLG used to be toward the bottom too. CLG made pretty big improvements to get out of that, and now they're going to be in playoffs for the first time in a while, actually, because they had been missing playoffs for some years, and now they're going to be in playoffs, actually. So I think personally, if Dig want to actually, not be a bottom feeder org in the LCS, they need to just revamp their roster coming in. I mean, you could probably keep Blue and Biofrost, and you definitely need a new top, you need a new jungle, and you definitely need Spawn is fine. I think a new jungle and top would actually have to be better for them. Also, Zayu is North American, so he probably cannot communicate with Hoon. So Hoon's going to be left on an island because he can't communicate with him. So many other things I could bring up right now. But Dignitas, their season's over. Basically just GG go next. Hopefully, because people were kind of happy with Dig when they were all about building up NA players. Oh yeah, we're the NA org. Yet they bring up a Korean top laner.
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
I haven't seen a worse Korean top since fucking Avalon. You remember that guy?
I was gonna say Seraph back when COG had him, but
no. Avalon is even worse.
Again,
I've told this story like 8 times.
What about that guy in Renegades, RF Legendary? He was dog shit.
Yeah, well, he was like Ukrainian or something, but I mean, he had like he was mainly just like
one good game.
He was mainly like supposed to be like a weak side guy.
He really was the weak side. He was dog shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you put him on Dr. Mundo, he's all right. That's about it.
He got Echo. He got top Echo when that used to be a thing, and he was guys. RF Legendary is probably one of the worst LCS top laners ever. That guy
you should look at like his. Yeah, it's like this abandoned. Holy fuck, this guy has gone like he needs to be in a. This guy like burned his fucking esports jersey and jacket in a video one time. Oh, this guy just turned like crazy. I don't know what the fuck going on.
All right, so let's
go. I'll show you it one time, but holy fuck! I'll tell you the story quickly about Avalon. Even I told it like 8 times before. He was on Winter Fox. It was basically the roster with what was his name? Sorry, it was Poe Belter
and Altec.
I believe Altec, Ignar, Helios, and basically I believe he was either friends or related or something to Helios, the Korean jungler they had. And that's basically how he got the spot on his team. And he hyped him up as some young Korean prodigy from a team. In reality, the guy was so dog shit. He was like silver. And it showed right out of the gate and never improved from there. And he literally got the spot as like a silver player. And because they lied and because he was his brother and just fooling in NA org, and then he spent like every game just helping his fucking brother in the top lane, and just to even not go under 60 CS and shit on Lulu and stuff, and then so then it left out his other teammates to dry, and it's just holy fuck, it was a shit show. And then Poe Belter was just there what the fuck am I doing? It's absolutely insane. One of probably the worst import of all time. Yeah, I'm gonna say Hoon's almost that bad.
So that's it for Dignitas. I think they just either go with a full restructure of your roster or simply just keep the few pieces that work. But I don't think Dignitas will ever really truly make a run for finals ever or semifinals. I mean, getting into playoffs is already really hard for them, right? Now,
yeah, I'll be honest, but you know what they should do? Actually, just their best bet, honestly, just ask Biofrost, hey, what's the team you would build? Just do that.
That works too. I was also gonna bring up this really crazy thing. Now, I don't mind if 8 teams make playoffs for summer for the LCS guys, because I'll be honest here, Golden Guardians and TSM aren't about to do jack shit.
I mean, TSM could, but Golden Guardians, hell no. If Immortals made it like they should have, if they didn't choke those games they should have won, then maybe. But I mean, they still probably wouldn't have won. But
now factor this in: teams like Golden Guardians, Immortals, and Dignitas had a legitimate chance to make playoffs. Now in a BO5 format, you have to win 3 games to advance, right? In playoffs. Okay, sounds easy, right? These guys could barely get together 3 or more wins in a split where you play 18 best of ones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think they won like 2 games in a row each. This is like, holy fuck.
No, guys, factor this in. That's actually legitimately factual. In a best of 5, you have to win 3 games. Okay, we know that. Golden Guardians, Immortals, and Dig almost made playoffs, and these teams could barely scrape together almost 3 wins. Look at this. They're all 1 game apart from each other still, despite the standings putting Golden Guardians in 8th because they obviously beat Dignitas. You know? That's fucking ridiculous. You expect me to believe a team could go to playoffs with a 4-14 record and win 3 games when they could barely win 3 games in BO1s spread out through 8 weeks. That's ridiculous. All right, now let's go to Immortals. Yeah, this was Power People's worst year by far. This is the worst year I've ever seen this guy have in all of his career. I started watching Power of Evil back in 2015 for the EU LCS 2015 spring split when he was on Unicorns of Love. I followed this guy's career ever since he was in the EU LCS. This has been his worst year by far. He's usually always the top 4 mid in the LCS. You know, I think players like Revenge are definitely not that good. I think they need to move on from this guy, actually.
I never understood why this guy got this one. Well, actually, I do know. The guy was always like this bad, right? He was he was a bottom tier.
He was on Flyquest Academy
top laner.
Actually, horrible. He was
near the bottom of the rankings for top laners, but he just got the spot because they're like, raw NA talent. That's literally it. And they thought they could just grow him, build him up. And for a short while, they did kind of to it. He wasn't good, but he was either competent or below average, not at least in him. But that's not saying much. Below average. Good job, buddy. Good job.
Yeah,
now
because
it's just terrible again.
That was when we had that narrative that we got to just bring up NA talent just to do it. It's like, no. You bring up NA talent if they're actually good enough to be in the league. You don't just do it just because. I mean, you're not running a fucking charity here. You're not running like it's do the orgs run the league, or do the fans on Reddit run the league? I don't just want an NA player in the league just because they're homegrown. It's like, no, that's stupid. Then you get players like, Zayu on Dignitas actually. So Kenvi, you can build around this guy. He did get slightly a bit better on stage, but it was so late into the split it didn't matter at that point. Lost is the worst ADC in the league. He's so shit. He's not going to be on Immortals in the offseason. We know this.
Yeah, ignore, get the fuck out.
I wouldn't be surprised if Immortals started building super teams after this split, because they tried to do a mixture of, let's go with a few lesser known players, and if they work out, maybe we might sell them, to the top orgs actually. That's why they got Revenge. Come on, guys. Let's be honest with ourselves here. They got Revenge thinking that, damn, he's actually not as bad that people are saying. What kind of built him up? And then
also because good, he's Viper's and General Sniper's brother, isn't he?
I think so. I think you're right. Yeah. So they're thinking to themselves, well, if we build up Revenge, maybe Team Liquid, Cloud9, 100 Thieves, EG might want him. Hey, there you go, free money. No, turns out he's just not that good. He was horrible this split. He had like 1 good game that was on Yone. It's like, fuck. A lot of these players
I think he's honestly the
1
worst
good game.
Besides Hoon, I would say he's the worst this year.
Like, if you don't want to put in Hoon because he came in so late, it's really hard to judge him. Because with Revenge, you had a full sample size of games to judge this guy. Not even just with Spring, too. He had like 1 good Yone game and 1 good set game the whole year.
Here's the thing. I will at least say is it's the same thing with like White Knight on Astralis. He at least wasn't like Intin and stuff like Vizichachi, but he just did nothing. He did nothing around the map. He literally just stayed in his lane, like barely doing anything. He was just there. He just existed, breathed. That's it. And then usually like lost the whole fucking turret in around like 13 minutes. Just holy fuck, like I would honestly say it was like worse than Soul, worse than Solo, worse than Licorice, yeah, worse than fucking Gamsu.
Like, I've never seen that. Like, literally, if you guys go back and watch Spring, the only good game he had was on set, a set against TSM, who was also in shambles.
Set is brain dead champ. Come on.
The only good game I think he had this one was on Yone. Yeah, I outside of literally that one Yone game that they even lost, I can't think of a game he actually really stood out. Outside of that Yone game that he played against EG.
Hey, come on, guys. There was that first game in the regular season he played where he like solo killed Alfari once and then did nothing, but his team won, so you know he was popping off.
Oh, like I think the only pieces you keep are just Kenvi and Ignar. Like Ignar got some of his playmaking potential. I saw some of Ignar's playmaking in some of their games, but it still was kind of meh, honestly. Like, I think people rag on Ignar a lot more than the guy deserves. I mean, I've always thought he was a pretty good player, all things considered. I mean, he might be a little overrated, but I think overall, for at least LCS standards, I think he deserves a spot in the league, and I definitely don't think a team like this is going to be a team that can really facilitate something that this player needs. You know, I don't think this is the right team for this guy, and I don't think this is the right team for all these players. Most of these players on these like really bottom teams like Immortals and Dig, a lot of these players are just completely mismatched in terms of play style, how they want to play the game, how they see the game, how they even fucking lane, how they want to take objectives. Badly mismanaged team. I don't know why Immortals went and bought Lost, knowing how shitty he just played on with Golden Guardians. That was just ridiculous.
Well, here's the I don't know if they bought. I think they made like I don't know, but the reason why they did
on Lost, that's an L.
No, but here's the thing: the reason why they did wasn't because he was good, but he did actually improve on Golden Guardian, but from like dog shit to like bad. You know, and when given a bunch of resources, so that isn't saying much. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't like one of the worst ADCs. He was like around 8th last split. So, and here's the thing: again, they had the 10th and the 11th force like ADCs and Wild Turtle and Arrow. So it was technically an improvement. So that's why they did it. But I honestly would have just rolled with fucking Arrow.
You're probably gonna hate me with this. You're probably gonna hate anyone's probably gonna watch this and hate me for it. I think they should have just kept Wild Turtle.
No, I would have. Just
at least Wild Turtle makes plays. At least Wild Turtle is going to make plays something. This guy just does literally nothing. Like,
what do you mean they had that?
If you're going to trade out, if you're going to trade out Lost, and if you're going to trade out Arrow and Wild Turtle for Lost, you're thinking to yourself, okay, Lost will just be the role player guy. He'll just be the guy who does his job, and he'll be like the cleanup ADC, like Reckless used to be. No, he was actually even worse. If you're not gonna get a better player than what you already have, you just keep that player then. Or you try to upgrade in other areas on the map to make that position look better. Why the fuck would you get rid of Wild Turtle and Arrow for Lost?
Yeah, and that's actually, you know, Wild Turtle does have past synergy with Ignar, right?
They play together on Flyquest.
Yeah.
Remember?
Also, I will say,
Professor Dark, what's up, buddy?
I do think Ignar can still be all right. Yes, if used, you know, properly, of course, with his play style. But I do just think he's kind of washed up now. But I will say, if there were one team that would have utilized him well, and this isn't taking shots with like Aframu or saying he was bad this year. He was solid, but he would honestly play good on Flyquest again if you return there with what they needed.
Also, they bring up Kenvi. It's his opening debut in the LCS. It's like, to some extent, you can fault him. He was playing really bad, but it's like you also can't fault him because it is his first split in the LCS, and it's like he's also playing with a really bad team. Yeah, like Revenge isn't playing for his playstyle, which is crazy how they're both aggressive players, yet they don't have any synergy whatsoever. Power of Evil and Ignar have chemistry, but it doesn't mesh with any of the players on the team. It's just a really badly built roster. I wouldn't be surprised in this offseason coming up after Worlds if we start hearing that they're trying to buy some big profile names, because I couldn't imagine they literally go through another whole 2 splits next year trying this weird experiment where they're taking players that could have potential, and you get them and you kind of realize they're just really not that good. It makes sense to get a play like Power of Evil. It does. Because obviously he's, by name value alone, he's always been a top 4 LCS mid laner. This is just, maybe this might have just been a really bad year from him, honestly. But the gameplay he showcased this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have a team in this offseason coming up for himself. So, yeah, that's how I feel about Immortals right now, guys. I think they're just, they kind of deserve this spot anyway. Like, the fact that people even thought they were going to make playoffs and then you still see their gameplay and it's still shit, Like, yeah, Dig has always had bad games all this play. But yeah, there were some weeks where Immortal had some upset games against Cloud9 and a few other teams. But you realize to yourself, it's nothing that's going to be super consistent ever. It's nothing super consistent. Like with Team Vitality, when we talk about the LEC coming up next week, actually. Yeah, Team Vitality had that one or two good, really 1 to 2 good weeks throughout the year. But I told people this, just because you have like 1 to 2 good weeks, that's make your team good. It's just how the best of format works overall. They had like a few good games span through multiple weeks. That's not a good team. That they're just overperforming for that week. The gameplay was bad. The team is just all around bad. So let's go right now to Golden Guardians. Oh, what's up, Chaz? 100 Thieves. We'll talk about them in a bit. Facts, Ziak, MSK, you, Cole, Warren, Tom. Your bottom teams are pretty trash, actually.
Wait, all right. MSK. Wait, when you mean you, what you mean? When you mean by you, you just me. Said. Yeah, but he said MSK and you at both. What?
Do you want a hug?
Okay, whatever. Yeah, yes, he said your name twice because he meant you.
Probably at work. He probably just typing really fast.
Okay, whatever. But it would be better than Dig, I guess. So.
All right, so let's go to Golden Guardians. Now, I want you guys to watch this game with me and tell me how good Golden Guardians really are before we actually roast their team into oblivion. All right, so this was for Golden Guardians and Dig to get in the playoffs, okay? Now, I lost my voice almost yelling at the streamer how bad this game was. Now, also, how the fuck is Stixxay top 5 LCS ADC of all time when this guy's been literally irrelevant after 2017? That's beyond me. That's a different day for the discussion.
Because of longevity, I guess. But let's see. There's Sneaky, Double Lift, Wild Turtle,
and Sven. That's who are the other 4.
Sven, yeah, okay, and I'm sure there's another one you could. I'll try. Why
to think can't of it. FBI be? No, I don't care, because FBI not only has won the same amount of titles that Stixxay's had, he's also been a much better player.
I will say, before CLG really became bad, like in around once they got like Crown, I would say Stixxay was always still really good.
I never thought. No, I think it was shitty after 2017. I think he's been bad for 4 years. He's been bad for 4 years.
I will say it was only a result of whenever his team was good, but in comparison to other ADCs around the league,
I personally think FBI should just be there over him or Danny. Honestly, I don't think he deserves that spot at all. Just longevity's fine, but it's like he's throughout most of his longevity, he's only been good for like 2 years. Personally, I'd rather have just FBI over him. Because of that thing, I don't mind longevity, but the longevity argument would have to pose into you have to be good for most of the years you're in the league. But like Sneaky, he was pretty much good most of the time he's in the league, actually.
Honestly, I would say Cody's son was better for more years.
Yeah, wasn't Cody's son better than him? Cody's son was always better than him.
No, but he's in EU now. He's a traitor, so
we can't put him there. Okay, so this game, I actually almost wanted to die. So you watched this game, right? Remember when they got that really big early game advantage against them when Zayu got knocked off earlier? So you guys won't see it here because this is obviously the highlights. So at a certain period point in the game, if you watch the actual VOD, they get such a big lead over Zayu. I think River invades them and he makes them do these horrible leashes and starts. River is so trash that Zayu actually ended up not only out damaging him, but being ahead of him. And he actually got invaded and started basically with just doing raptor camps. River could easily have power farmed, impacted lanes. If you get a lead as big as what River did on Viego against Wukong, I don't know how you don't win the game. I was sitting here going, what? Oh, okay. Golden Guardians, it's the easy win right here. The team comp is also pretty much better too. So you're like, okay, my Viego started off really strong against their enemy jungler. It's over. We have Lissandra, Viego all in. We have Jack split push. Licorice decides to play his one good game to get into playoffs, which is fine. Stixxay is just Stixxay, kind of just, it's just really, really underwhelming. Ole's also been underwhelming, but he is paired with Stixxay, so it's kind of the same, honestly. So somehow Zayu has more impact in this game than River, despite Zayu having a really shitty start. I just don't know what was going on in this game. I just really don't. Now, River and Blaze Olive want to dive Hoon. They could have did that early on when River had a massive jungle lead against him. What? I just don't get it. I just don't fucking get it. I just don't. This was one of the worst games I have ever watched in LCS history. This game was so shit. There's moments in the game that Dignitas could win because they're just out team fighting Golden Guardians. Golden Guardians is so lucky they had a Jax on their team. I don't know. What did you feel about this game when you watched it? What's up, 86
I wanted to die. That's what I felt.
I'm not understanding your comment, but I like your.
I really don't understand what you.
I mean, like, C9 is in Overwatch. They're London Spitfire. They might sell their slot.
And they were called C9 before the Overwatch League. Yes, when they had those teams. Like, I don't know what you mean. Like, there's only one. There's only one Cloud9 org. I don't know. Is there an anti C9 org we don't know about? Like,
is there a Cloud10 that I don't know about actually?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there is Rainbow 7. That's the closest thing. Oh yeah, and remember Dash 8?
Oh Lord. Like
the Latin American League.
Oh shit! Yeah, but sir, I don't know what you mean by this. You can clear it up. You'd be perfectly fine. But yes, this game is horrible. Anyone's watching this is like if you're Golden Guardians right now, and this is the last game you played, and you have to go into the losers bracket. This does not bode well for you specifically when other teams are going. Yeah, this team is really bad. Their jungler just had probably one of the biggest early game leads ever that a jungler could ask for, especially in a pro game, then ends up doing nothing with it to the point where the person that was behind is now doing more damage. He's actually out damaging at this point. He actually is in head and items.
Despite if Golden Guardians wins a single game, I'll eat my shoe. This is just
like, go back and watch this VOD. Zayu starts off really shitty because of a really bad invade. It was like, God, just fucking hell. Just fuck my ass. And then right here, this is where the game ends, where Golden Guardian obviously gets the dragon, because they're dragon soul. Yeah, Dignitas were soul stacking, actually.
Yes. It'll be at the Elder.
Yeah, it was at the Elder toward the very end of the game. Yeah, right here. I sadly remember this game. All right, so this is the point where Dig needs Elder Soul because they got all the dragons. Factor in Golden Guardians won this game and Dig had all the dragons. I don't know how that even works. How does that even make sense? How does that even make fucking logical sense?
Who knows? Really,
it's so hard to come back when the enemy team has 5 Drakes. You know what 5 Drakes gives you in the game? Yeah, a fist up the ass. That's what it gives you.
Yes, it's like they weren't even fighting them when they got Elder. They were just trying to run away. Like, why?
Mm-hmm. Okay, you said... let me pause this for a second. C9 is a term in Overwatch.
Yes, we know the term. Yes, it originated from Cloud9.
Oh, yes. If you're talking about like the Cloud9 org from the LCS that we're talking about now.
No. He's talking about in Overwatch. There's this... when teams throw or like step off like a point randomly in Overwatch when they're like having a fight and then just lose like that, some dumb shit like that. There's this one series that the Cloud9 team like did it a bunch of times, and then that was the term that originated pulling a C9 in Overwatch. That dead esport, but whatever.
Okay. Mr. 886 Moose Boy, nice to meet you. I just didn't know what you meant. Just wanted to clear it up because I was confused. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? But you're fine, dude. Okay, so Golden Guardians ends up winning, and this is the worst team in playoffs by far. They are about, it doesn't matter who they face. If any team drops a game to a team this dog shit, that is not good for that team. Somehow, Zayu gets the dragon, but he costs his team the game. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna just go in and actually take dragon.
It's like,
but
why
then
are you running?
So let's back this up a little bit. Okay, so right here they're hitting dragon. They're hitting the dragon. Zayu steals it or gets it, and then they're also chunked out. How are they the one getting chunked out when they're the one who has 5 dragons?
Because they kept trying to turn, and I don't know why. Just melt it quickly. They weren't getting in.
You factor in, if anyone gets close to you, Biofrost can just headbutt pulverize them.
Yes.
Biofrost is behind his jungler when he should be right there. I get it. Wukong can jump over. I get it, but it doesn't matter. This was the worst game of the entire LCS regular season.
And the thing is, it's still a 4v2 with Aphelios on Elder. He could have easily melted them down, but as he did right there, but he wasn't even trying to like fight them, and he missed all of his fucking. Like, this was just holy fuck.
I never seen Aphelios miss chakrams.
How do you lose this?
If you're Dig, how do you? I don't know. If you're Dig, how do you lose? You have 5 dragons. Your jungler had one of the worst starts I've seen in a while for a jungler. Somehow managed to come back, deal more damage than the enemy guy. The enemy guy 0-4 at this point. Zayu actually had a pretty good game despite the really shitty start he was given. His only good game of the split. His only good one. And they still lose. River is so garbage. Maybe that's the reason why they got rid of him, because they thought there was a ticking time on him.
Did you really think he was good? He literally
slightly over Pride Stalker. Was a slight upgrade.
Oh, he's
like
bad
really
when he's not on Jarvan. All right, he's bad.
Like, if they wanted to make sure that River was more effective, he needs to be on Jarvan, or he needs to play. Was another song he used to play pretty well. There's another one. I think it was Wukong. No, he played Wukong, but you're right. It's just Jarvan for that. But yeah, if you're Golden Guardians, oh shit. Also, Licorice has played really bad this split. If Licorice wasn't on Jax, I don't see a world where they actually win.
How do you lose to Hoon in lane? I really want to know.
I also need to know, why would they even put in leader if a Blaze Olive had been their best performing player pretty much all year?
Because they're idiots, and again, they thought that he would have more chemistry with River or something. And again, this is why people are like, why did they sub them out? You know, after they said they would roll with them for the rest of the split and then fire their GM. It's like, because they obviously realized how shit it was. They're just like, okay, let's just put in the 2 players who played the best. And then they obviously fired their GM because, this entire roster of Golden Guardians is a shithole. It's a shit show. All 10 players. This was his vision, and he's been there for like 2 or 3 years just doing this shit. So it's like fire him. You know, in the season, like, holy fuck, their season's over anyway. Even if they made playoff, just fire him.
Their season was already over, because people need to factor in, this team was on like a 6-7 game losing streak. 8 game losing streak, and they
shouldn't have won this game. So their season, if they even win a game against whoever they face off between Fly or Cloud9, CLG,
I'm jumping off whatever train I'm on. If that team that faces Golden Guardians drops a single game to a team that shitty, I am off that train. Your team must suck ass to drop to a team that bad. Your team must be ass. You must suck. Like, it was so painful to watch Licorice be this bad. I always still think he's one of the more better top laners in the LCS, but no, he had a really, really bad split. Stixxay, underwhelming. Olays,
I don't know.
Mediocre, kinda. I don't know. Like, the difference between River
he was
and
mediocre. I literally would have just given Prismal some more chances. Honestly.
Like, Pride Stalker and River, like, the difference is so minuscule. I guess if you look at it now, I guess it wouldn't have made. I guess it Did they?
The problem with Pride Stalker is he can't play really many meta champs.
He's better in like more assassin metas actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the problem here, so I understand why they got River. They're thinking like, okay, Price Stalker is really only good at a few certain champions for a certain meta, but River's good at like a bunch of other champions that are good right now.
No, he ain't, but
that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, but yeah, he could at least play, Poppy and stuff, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, and that's my thing is like they spent all that money getting River before like to try and salvage their season, and then it did. They got him into playoffs, but it's like. You gotta pay that much money. You gotta shell out that much money for River, and River wasn't really that good for them. I mean, obviously, maybe it was due to the language barrier River had, but also Ole is Korean too. So it's one of these things where I have no confidence in this team in playoffs. They're getting knocked out first round. Let's be honest here. Intensive, what's up, brother? The LEC podcast is gonna be this Tuesday or Wednesday coming up. I have to see how the playoff schedule looks, but no, it's happening. I just wanted to take the week off from it because there's no rush to talk about the games right now because the LEC playoffs is happening not this week but the next week. So
if you're still like making memes about NA being a wild card region when EU's entire history is just as bad when you ignore G2 that one year, then you must have like CTE or something.
Also, if I talk about team vitality right now, my fucking voice will be out. So not a good place from here now with that team. Holy shit. But yeah, brother, it'll be next week for sure. Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm thinking. But I have to see because the LCS playoff schedule is looking like it's going to be kind of crammed for next week coming up. Because Thursday, you're going to get whoever TSM is playing out of the loser of TL versus Fly. So we'd have to do the LEC podcast on Tuesday, not this week, but coming up this week, right? It would have to be, So I'll have to rearrange that in my schedule, actually.
I will say there isn't a single like top laner this year whose spot is basically secured besides maybe Fudge. Because if you think
Whippos?
No, it's because
here's the thing too, man.
Well, no, here's the thing. 14 to like 5 from like Phillip all the way down to fucking Hoon. Yeah, nobody's spot is secured there. Then here's the thing. Whippo, like again, they said they would blow the team up if they don't win a split or and barely make worlds. That looks like that's happening, and Whippo, doesn't gel with Team Liquid, same reasons with Fnatic, so they could easily get rid of him. And then as good as Someday and Impact are playing, your spot is never secured when you're an older player like that. They could
try to look for upgrades. Specifically because Someday's actually had a really good year.
I think they'll keep, but either way, the point is that they usually look for newer players when you're that old, even if you're playing that good. So besides like Fudge, honestly, all the fucking top laners, none of their spots are really secured, which is insane. This should not happen in a major region or like a role with like every player besides
don't see a world where they're even considering getting rid of Someday at all. I just don't see it.
Oh my god.
Because they've been with them for so long. Not even that, he's been playing amazing. Like he's honestly, man, if there was an Inspired in the league, I think Someday would be my MVP, honestly. All right, let's go to TSM. I mean, what do we even say about these guys? I mean, it's going to be so funny watching TSM get knocked out in playoffs in their first round. Now, there is a world, what kind of earth would you have to be on to have TSM make a miracle run?
They could. I mean, here's the thing: if CLG ends up being as bad in best of fives like Dig when they were popping off with that one roster, but then they ended up being bad in best of fives. If that happens, Cloud9 beats them, then okay. Well, here's the thing: because I think TSM could beat Fly. Honestly,
I don't know. No, I don't see it that way, dude.
I'm not saying it's likely. I'm just saying they could.
Well, we literally just watched Flyquest beat them a few days ago.
Yes, but they put in like some effort. But I mean, I'm just saying it's a possibility. Like Fly was not playing.
Like Fly also Flyquest popped out pretty hard this week, actually.
I mean, I will say
I'd be shitting my pants if I faced them.
I would say the only reason why I predicted them to go 0-3 this week was just because for my overall predictions, because it would have made more sense.
You were going to take I'll give you this.
They're doing correct!
What? It wasn't because I thought they would go 0-3. It's because of my overall predictions. They needed to.
You predicted them to have 3 of something, just wasn't wins.
Yes, well, they didn't even play that well in all 3 of them. They could have lost all 3 of those games, honestly.
No. Wait, which game? What are you talking about? The one where
at least 2 of them. They could have lost 2 of them at least. Like go to the
the 100 Thieves game. They blew them out. What are you talking about? What game are you watching?
Immortals could have beat them. TSM could have beat them.
No, you were on drugs.
Yeah, it's true. And then 100
Thieves, if they just played 100 Thieves out. They literally beat the shit out of them.
You're on crack. What are you doing?
Oh my god. This is the game where Johnson got the pentakill. Yeah, they dominated Immortals in that game.
They could have.
This is the only technically close game they had. And by technicality, it's like maybe because they're actually
both of those 2 games were close. And 100 Thieves, if they just played smart that day, they would have beat them. So they could have gone 0-3.
What are you on drugs?
Okay, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I thought they would go 0-3. I just predicted it for my prediction sake because I needed Immortals to beat them to make playoffs because I knew Golden Guardians was playing dig. All right, that's why it wasn't because I actually thought they would go 0-3. I would have said like 2-1 otherwise.
I need whatever drugs you're on because I need to not be on that shit.
What? Yeah, I already. Okay, fuck off, bitch. You've gotten more predictions wrong all season than I have.
Yeah,
so how about you sit
My
down?
record's been impeccable all these years I've been doing league content. Literally to the top.
Fuck you, bitch.
Guys, I just don't see. Okay, the only world I see TSM doing well is only because of Maple and Spica, right? But then you factor into yourself, Maple's looked all right this season. The bot lane, because their bot lane is what? Instinct and Chime. They don't look that good as a duo. Spica is all right. Solo plays too aggressive, and Solo is definitely a weak point for TSM because teams are just going to target him in lane to just obviously put him so far behind. The lead is just going to be insurmountable. I just really don't see a world they make it past the round that they're in because I'm just going to be honest here, guys. They have to face the loser of TL and Fly. Let's say Fly upset Team Liquid. They face TSM. Now, let's reverse this.
I thought they faced the lowest seed.
No. They face the winner. They face the loser of this. And then C9.
I thought it was the lowest
face these
seed.
Guys. But basically, this goes here, and then this goes here. That's kind of just the way that works. From what I've looked up. So
okay, I think you're wrong. I think because since they have the higher seed out of 7 or 8, they face the lowest seed that goes into the losers bracket.
So just factor this in, guys. Let's say Flyquest upset Team Liquid. Let's just say that happens. If TSM faced Team Liquid, they're going to get their asses handed to them. Like they did during the last game they faced each other, where Team Liquid just beat the shit out of them. I really just don't see a world they make it past their round. People said, "Oh, what if Flyquest faces TSM?" What? Flyquest snapped 100 Thieves' win streak they were on. 100 Thieves were on a 7-game win streak. Flyquest handily beat them, and a lot of people put 100 Thieves as the team to win the LCS title right now. That's going to lose to TSM? No. That is literally just TSM's fuck their name brand value. They're not good. They're just dog shit. I don't see a world that if they face either of these teams, they win. And not only that, TSM throughout the split has looked really ropey. Some of their wins have been pretty convincing, but there's too far few in between. Most games, they just get blown out. It's just a bad year from TSM. Bad roster decisions all the way around. The drafting's been pretty sus. I mean, Spica is all right. Maple is all right. I just don't think they just have the players on the roster to really carry them far. Also kind of factor in, it's their bot lane's first time in playoffs. It's like, how are they going to perform actually? You know, like some of the players in the playoffs right now, for like a lot of these teams, you know, a lot of these guys have had BO5 experience. The only players that really don't have BO5 experience are the players on, or a few of the players, right, in playoffs right now. That'd be like Philip on Flyquest, and you would also have the bot lane on TSM, and you'd also have who's Yeah, no, River and just River. There's very few players in the playoffs right now for the LCS that don't actually have BO5 experience, because in BO5s it's different from BO1. So maybe in BO5s TSM's better. Maybe. I just don't see a world where that's possible. I just don't see it, honestly. So that's my thing about TSM. Even just for the season, I think they've just been pretty bad, overall. Most of the games are complete blowouts. Cloud9 beat the shit out of them. They got their asses handed to them by another team. I mean, they had that really kind of close game against Flyquest, but were Flyquest really in any danger of losing that game? I don't think so, personally. Yeah, they won against CLG. That was their only convincing win this week. Other games they got completely railed in anyway. So, yep, that's how I see it for that. That's how I see TSM. Let's go on to Flyquest, who actually this week went 3-0. Oh, sorry, 3-1, because they played a tiebreaker game against Cloud9. That game against Cloud9, yeah, they got destroyed in this game. But the other games, they snapped 100 Thieves' win streak. They also played very well against Immortals, which is not saying much, but they definitely won pretty convincingly, which is what you should be doing against teams like that. And against TSM, I really never thought they were in any danger of losing this game, despite it looking kind of more closer than it was. But if you go back and watch the game, it was pretty one-sided to Flyquest, honestly. So, yeah, I think Takuli has been amazing. I also think that Johnson and Aftermath have been a pretty solid bot lane. I think Philip has had a...
No, they have not.
What is wrong with you? Why are you a Flyquest hater? What did they do to you? It's because they got rid of your friend Kumo. That's why you hate them.
Hey, what are you talking about? Philip's been better, dumbass. I said it, but no, they've been all right. Yes, and they have the chemistry, but if you want to put one weak point on Flyquest, it's easily their bot lane. Now you can keep Afromu, but Johnson, there's way better ADCs you can get.
No, I'm talking about like what does that mean for right now when they're going into playoffs?
No, I'm just saying, like, solid. I mean, I don't know.
Like, I think they have a solid bot lane, but I think it's not even just the bot lane that's their issue. I think their problem is Jose Dioto. He had a strong start to the split, but then he just fell off completely. I think one of the biggest reasons why TL will beat Flyquest is just, I think Santorin, even at his worst, is still much better than Jose Dioto. That's my thing personally. I think Philip also, I don't know if he really got better with the split as most people had brought up. I just don't really see it personally. I think he's only good games were like on Aatrox personally, I think that it's just not been, I don't know. I don't think he's a player I have super huge confidence in, really. I think that Flyquest is really pretty much carried by Takuli and Afro. If Johnson's on a hyper carry like Lucian, I think that word works out for them like it did this week. If Flyquest don't play like they do this week, which is probably the peak of this roster, as you can see when it all comes together for the players that they have. Because without them playing at the level they played this week, they're just an average middle of the pack team with just barely above barely above average to solid players actually at their peak. All right, so let's go to Cloud9. What do we say about Cloud9? Let's go with Evil. Yeah, because this was the game that people brought up from Cloud9 that I wanted to talk about, which was when Cloud9 faced off against Evil Geniuses this week. Because Cloud9 did look a whole lot better this week, I'll say that. But their game against Evil Geniuses is one of the things that I'm super skeptical on, because they still showed a lot of the same similarities of problems that they've had throughout the split, like I don't think Sven's been that good as a support player. I'm not saying he's been appalling or awful. I just don't think he's been that good. I think Berserker is a solid player, but I really don't think he's going to get any better than he is right now. I think he's just been solid enough. I think Jensen's had a pretty underwhelming split, honestly. Blabbers had a pretty okay split, all things considered. Fudge has had a pretty ropey split. Most of their split has been pretty ropey. Yeah, they managed to clutch it out and get the wins that they needed. I'll be honest here, but that's just pretty much all I can say. Like some of their wins have been convincing. Like when they have a lead, they know how to close out. They know how to, get to objectives fast. They know what to do around the map. But that's all from how we see these players. If you watch their games, some of their games, they have really, like, the biggest problem with Cloud9 is they have a really bad early game, which is one of the biggest issues. Blabber definitely taking horrible invade trades and, definitely getting exposed for that last week and other games during the split. But during this EG game, you kind of factor in, like, there was another slim chance they still could have won this game. Obviously, everyone's going to point to this game because of the 1v3 outplay by Inspired. I don't know why they chased Vi personally, who's a 1v1 duelist champion against, champion where if you get in front of her, she just autos you a few times and you just get a lot of damage down. I mean, what do you think, dude? What do you think about this game for Cloud9 versus EG, especially the draft too? I don't know what's this Leblanc priority for North America for some reason either.
Well, what do you mean EG had it under control the whole time? There wasn't anything to say.
I don't think there was no world I saw where Cloud9 were winning, because I was watching this game and I tabbed out for a sec. I tabbed for like 10 minutes because someone called me. Came back, I was like, EG's winning. I'm like, yeah, EG have been much better than Cloud9 this entire split. I was like,
I'll say, I mean, besides this game, I think Fudge has been disappointing with his CS numbers in the last like 3 or 4 weeks, and they need to stop putting him on Sedge. So there's my thoughts there.
Also, my thing, guys, is Fudge has just not looked good this split. I just don't think most of their, I think, like, at their peak, you could see this whole roster working to get, like, you could see the roster working. I think it's a balanced out roster of certain playstyles that I think can mesh pretty well. The problem here is I think they're not on the same page of how they want to actually play out their early game. A player like Inspired, a player like Vulcan definitely know how they want to play out the early game. So it's going to be a direct counter and play style to Cloud9. I think they have similar play styles, but I think that EG's way of playing out their early game is more stronger than Cloud9's right now. Also, what I want to bring up earlier, what I just said just a second ago, was LeBlanc priority. I don't know where this LeBlanc priority comes from, because I don't think they've gotten any value out of the LeBlanc pick anytime Jensen has really played it. It's probably because LeBlanc is just doing very well in scrims, and then, they're probably picking it on stage because it has good scrim results, because I still don't know why teams do this as well, where, people just play a lot differently on stage compared to scrims. People play a lot more loosely in scrims, where certain picks pan out very well over other picks, and then on stage they look really bad because, teams are taking obviously less risk at certain moments in the game, where these nice picks that work out in scrims don't work out very well on stage because of just the discrepancy in terms of, being on a stage and all these other factors in as well. Now, I don't even really know what style of support Sven wants to play. He's only really looked good on Yuumi and Tom Kench and Nautilus. That's pretty much the only 3 champions he's looked decent on. Fudge also doesn't look good on Sedge either, and Sedge is also a pretty decently good meta champion right now, actually. Like, I don't know why people were surprised that EG won this game. EG had been playing better the entire split. Like, if EG or Hunter Thieves win the LCS title this summer split, I'm not surprised. They're just the much better teams right now. I like, truth be told, I love Cloud9, but I wouldn't want them winning a split when they're not even a team that can contend for a title. Right now, looking at how their splits went, I just don't see a world where they win the trophy. They lift the Summoners, trophy. I just don't see it, honestly, right now. But then again, playoffs to regular season, given their experience on the team, given their BO5 experiences, not even in the LCS, they've also had BO5 experience at Worlds as well. A lot of people talk about this experience translating in. It's not really a matter of experience translating. It's just more like, how does that matter for right now, though? Yeah, in the past, they had really good success in playoffs on different rosters, but this is not those rosters. This is this roster, and this roster has shown they are pretty inconsistent. So in BO5s, yeah, I could see a world where the experienced players come out over against inexperienced players that are on CLG. I also could see a world where, the inexperienced players play better than Cloud9 because there's not, like, the inexperienced players, from their point of view, they have nothing to lose. There's more pressure on Cloud9 to perform better in playoffs than CLG. That's just me personally. I don't know how Mr. 824 man feels, but
I don't know what you're talking.
Like the whole argument of pressure and inexperienced players, do you think it really matters, or do you think it's just kind of like a shitty talking point that people always use? I just never really bought into that all too much.
It's not. It's shitty talking point, but the only time it's honestly valid is they're not when they're not playing better, but the other team is just like getting cocky, and that they try to do high risk stuff, and the more experienced players just play it safe and take advantage of it, and then they win titles and shit that they shouldn't have. Team Liquid old 2019, but that's what happens sometimes. Otherwise, no, it's a shitty talking point.
Yeah, because I think people just put too much into that. It's like, yeah, your experience, that's great, but I've seen many playoff series over the years between all the major regions where I've seen rookie teams come out swinging against teams that are experienced, won trophies, basically just done it all. I don't think that really matters. You have to assess how the teams are playing at the moment. How they're playing at the moment, it's literally 50-50. I can see a world CLG wins against Cloud9. I can see a world Cloud9 wins against CLG. That's right. I can see it.
I think CLG could win.
Yeah, I can see a world
here's the thing. I think CLG's legit. Again, we don't know how they'll do in best of 5. So we'll have
because of the inexperience on the team. See, that's the angle you could use that, because in regular season of BO1s, yeah, you can pull together. There's some pretty good drafts for their players, because factor in, guys, in a BO1 setting for the regular season, you're only drafting against that one team you're facing against that week. So yeah, you can put a draft together that week just fine, because you're going to face that one team. Now you have to put 3 different, maybe potentially 5 different drafts together in a BO5 situation. So if you're since Palafox is really, really good at Yone and Azir, imagine if they just take those off the table. How good is Palafox really? Palafox has had a really good split, honestly. He's played great. Take him off those few champions in a BO5, what's going to happen to him? I don't know. I haven't seen him in a playoff
literally
series.
Take him off of champs like Azir and Yone.
How does he look after that? Because he's looked pretty underwhelming on a lot of other stuff.
Yes, and
not underwhelming.
I read some,
not as good.
I forgot who it was. I think it was fucking like High, when they were doing like the top 5 mid laners of all time. They made a comment like, I guess this is about longevity, so Jojo Pion wouldn't be on here. Like, oh, what the fuck? First off, he's played for like 1 split. All right. Secondly, what are you? You're okay. Everybody in every LCS fan and caster is acting, an analyst is acting like he's been just like the best mid laner in the league. But I don't even think I would rank him like top 3. And he definitely wasn't in spring when they won. When they're talking about, he goes like 5th. Like, what is this? People overhyping this guy all of a sudden.
Or my thing was when they're doing the top 5 LCS mid laners and they don't put Abadage or Niski over Power People. I like Power People, guys. I think he's always been a pretty good LCS mid laner, but Abadage came over, was actually much better than him. MVP candidate quality, won a title, has been to back-to-back finals, just like Power of Evil. Why is he not considered top 5 LCS mid laners? Or not just use Abadage. Use Niski. Niski had one of the most dominating splits of all time and won a title.
Because they think he wasn't there for long enough. He was there for 3 years, 1 on Energy and then 2 for Cloud9.
Envy, Cloud9.
Sorry, MV, and then 2 for Cloud9.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Like some of the requirements are just so stupid. It's like, I think if you're gonna be considered the best of all time, you've had to won something. Everyone above
there hasn't been one time in history where Power of Evil is like the best mid laner.
Yeah, like he's top 4, which is pretty good all the time, but he's never considered the best, and he's never actually won anything either. So
I wouldn't even say top 2 he was ever.
So if they're valuing like, okay, he made back-to-back finals with Flyquest, Abadage just did that. And he won a title too.
Yeah. What was their jungler list? Because if that's the case, then Santorin should be like 3rd just because of all the
Labber got 2nd, Xmithy got 1st, I think.
Yes, and then so then who would be the next?
Got 3rd. I think Santorin got 3rd.
Really? Over Meteos? Okay.
Meteos was there too. Either Meteos or Santorin were 3rd or 4th, but they were definitely there.
And then who was the 5th one?
I cannot remember, honestly.
Sven Skaren, maybe?
Oh, yeah, he was there. Mm-hmm. You're right. He was there. Makes sense. That's a jungler that we don't have anymore in the league. But he was always pretty solid, honestly. He was really inconsistent at some period points in time, too. Also, this is stupid, too. First of all, this was the Vi play that Inspired did. All right, so Inspired is probably, like, they're thinking to themselves right now, we just chased this Vi who has barely any mana, barely any health, right? Cool. Who's chasing who right here? Vi, a 1v1 duelist champion, all she needs is 2 hits to kill you. They're like, yeah, we have a Yumi on our Twitch. Definitely kill him. Nope. Nope. Yeah, Abadage also won his first split, too. It's like, why is Abadage not the other Power of Evil? I like Power of Evil. I do, but...
No, I get it, because
nope.
At that time when they were doing it, he only played 2 splits, so I get that one. But Niski played 6 splits. That's enough over Power of Evil. When Niski
not only played more splits, he also won a trophy. It's like...
And he should have won an MVP.
Even okay, if I'll even take Jojo Pion. Even Jojo Pion, his first year came into the league, won a split. Okay, cool. I'm just saying, like, there were other potential better candidates in Power Evil being top 5. I'm just saying, him being top 5 is fine. I just think Abadage and Niski were just better people to put there. Actually, someone said who he. I mean,
that would have been better even.
Maybe, I guess.
I mean, he was only good at the time, but honestly, at least he succeeded with shit. At least he made MSI finals. At least he won 2. So at least he had a good, 4 or 5 years as a mid laner in NA.
So after Cloud9, who are going to... Oh, CLG. I think this year's been great for CLG. I really do. They had not say a rocky spring split. They were ramping up as the splits went. It's definitely better to see them in the conversation than to see them obviously at the bottom. They were at the bottom for many splits, guys. Many splits in a row. So it's nice to see them back up here in the top 4 conversation.
Yeah, fuck all you doubters.
Luger, definitely top 3 ADC right now in the league. I definitely think this guy's been great. Poom, definitely a pretty good support right now. Palfox having a great split. Contracts, great split. Douglas, fine for them. Better than Jenkins, obviously.
There's a Shenny top 5. I want to hear from your mouth, MSK, that you were wrong about CLG and JDG and your gal. Go ahead.
What do you... I'm always right. Fuck off, bitch.
Fuck you. Say it.
I think... do you think CLG's going to Worlds? I don't think that.
Again, it depends on how they do in best of 5s. That's all. If they do well in best of 5s, then they should legit be better than Team Liquid. Dumb and Cloud9 have all played better against Team Liquid. It's just they got the early wins that kept them up in the stand-ins there.
My thing with CLG, the only problem... It's not really more so a problem. It's more of a problem that could lead into something based off their play style. They have no... what's the best word I could really use for them? They have no chains. So they just keep doing stuff. They try to always push the tempo of the game. They try to always push the pace of the game, which could be a good or bad thing, depending on how you're looking at it, right? Against the top tier teams early on the split, they got blown out pretty consistently, right? Against 100 Thieves, just this past week, they got pretty shit on. So it's like, how good are they? And that is going to be the testament to playoffs coming up. That's the real issue with them. Because that's my thing is, I think they're a pretty solid team. I think their rebuild worked out perfectly fine. CLG fans that are out there can rejoice. You're now in top. You made top 4 this split. I think that's a big improvement compared to where they used to be. Now it's time to see how this roster can work on a BO5s and then continue to build on this roster, even if you don't make Worlds going into this offseason, going to the next LCS 2023 spring split. So that's just how I feel about them personally, honestly.
Yeah, well, they got for improvements. It's hard to say what to improve without potentially messing up things. But again, as much as Dokla has been good and knows his role, if there's a top laner that you could import that does the same job on an island like Licorice did for Cloud9, then I guess you can import him.
Yeah.
But Palafox contracts, I guess you can keep Luger as well. Poom, No, well, he's not like the greatest support or anything. I mean, he has that chemistry with Luger for 2 years. And it could grow more. Do you want to mess that up? I don't know. It's hard to say.
And I just think that in a BO5 scenario, if they take away some of this team's key picks, that could be a big problem for them. But the other benefit that they actually have is, remember, guys, when you're a team like CLG with people that probably don't think you're going to do very well in playoffs based off your inexperience in BO5 scenarios, because the only players that have been in BO5 scenarios are Dokla and Contracts, obviously. There's no pressure on them to perform. They can just go and play as is. They're essentially kind of the underdogs right now, even though they've had a pretty good split, all things considered. You know, that's my thing about CLG right now. I'm really happy. They definitely proved me wrong for this year overall. You know, I thought a lot of their roster decisions were still gonna be pretty fucking shit, but they definitely did a very good job at improving. Not only just last split, you saw the ramp up, and in this split, it really solidified that this could be a top 4 roster in the LCS. Now, are they only a top 4 roster because a lot of teams with the better players just really underperformed? Sure, you could always say that as well, but in the game,
I do think they've been better than TL still. But I mean, if Cloud9 wasn't like disappointing, then they would still be 4th. Mm-hmm. Again, 4th or 5th is around where they're at, and then they could upset.
All right. We're gonna probably bring up these 3 teams together because I do have to kind of head out in like the next 10 minutes, actually, or 10 to 15 minutes.
I mean, there isn't too much to really say about them anyway, is there?
Okay, Team Liquid, to me, who do they face this week? Let me go back and refresh my memory on them. TL pretty much did exactly what TL needed to do. Beat shitty teams we know they could beat, and they lost 100 Thieves. Oh, the 100 Thieves game. Okay, so basically, in the 100 Thieves game, they had a really good early game. They had a really good early game to the point where Hansama had a lot of kills. Then 100 Thieves basically out-team fought them. It was a massive throw on TL's side. If TL had beat 100 Thieves, there was actually a potential for a tiebreaker for second. But no, I don't know how you get that far ahead and you lose every single team fight. That's not choking. They just aren't as good as 100 Thieves. I always thought 100 Thieves team was better than them anyway, personally, and it's still more showing that 100 Thieves teams is just better. I know TL's the super team that a lot of people predicted for, but as a split went over, I think 100 Thieves is just a better team. I think they're just the much more better team in general. Like, yeah, TL has a good early game, but like later on, I think they just are a better team when it comes to just being an all-around better package team, you know? Also, for 100 Thieves, they finished 14-4, which is good for their organization because this is the first time they finished anything this good, which is also another big step for the org as well. Right now, 100 Thieves would be my pick to win the split right now based off the very last week that I just saw them, personally. But I don't know how you feel, honestly.
Well wait, what did you say?
I think 100 Thieves, who would you pick to win the split right now out of all the teams? I would pick 100 Thieves, but that's just me personally.
If I don't know, 100 Thieves, but FBI needs to wake up.
He's played great these last few weeks, actually.
Not as great as before, though, and I'm looking at the overall split and overall year. He has not been as great as before at all. He's kind of disappointed, really.
I don't know. I think he's looked fine.
He's still top. He's still like a top 3 ADC or whatnot, but I mean, he's not like.
I think he's had like one potential bad game out of these last how many weeks?
I don't know. I don't think he's done enough as he should have in the situation. I think honestly, Luger has been better than him, literally.
I do not know about that one. But
he's been better than Hansama because Hansama's just.
Hansama's lost his hands for some reason. I don't know what happened to that guy. That's my thing with the 100 Thieves guys. I know you guys like 100 Thieves in the chat. No, Chaz and Ziak like them too. I think they've been just ramping up as the split has gone up. I think all the players are pretty much firing on all cylinders. I think this is pretty much the ceiling this team has actually hit. I think just overall they've pretty much maxed out how strong this roster could actually be. At a maxed out 100 Thieves roster,
that this is with this combination of players, I think right now they could potentially win the LCS title again. If they could potentially walk away with another trophy, which would be nice for the organization to have 2 trophies. Actually, obviously, I think I like how they know how they want to play the game. And if they get in bad situations, they know how to play out of those bad situations as well. But they had a really bad draft against Flyquest, which snapped their losing streak, honestly. Because if they didn't have because I predicted them to go 3-0. If they didn't have their losing streak snapped by Flyquest because of that really bad draft against them, they would have went 3-0, because it makes sense to predict them to go to 3-0 this week based off their strength of competition. So that's just how I feel about 100 Thieves. Ichi's a weird one. I don't know. Like, I think they're definitely good. I think they definitely are a top 2 team in the league right now.
It's all about the team fight, like around Dragon.
Yeah. My thing with EG is I think they're a good team, but they definitely can be beaten. Honestly, I think
they just haven't been punished. They literally they go even or a little bit behind, and then they just have one fight out around the Baron Pit or Dragon Pit.
Yeah. They have games where they do stomp, like the Cloud9 game. You have those games, and they're not so far few in between with their stomp games like you have with maybe a TSM or a Golden Guardians or a Flyquest. But Danny's laning phase is never actually improved. I mean, Impact can have good games. I don't think Impact's been as good this split as he was last split, actually. I think he's kind of just been in this Impact level, which is pretty much solid top 5, middle, not just above middle of the pack, actually. I think Inspired does so much for them to be at the point that they are first place. I mean, Inspired's going to end up getting, MVP anyway. If Inspired wasn't on Evil Geniuses, I'd probably give MVP to Closer or Someday. I think Closer has done so much for 100 Thieves.
It's a 3-horse race right now. It's Inspired, Someday, or Takuli.
For you?
Well, no, for the league with the analysts and people.
Oh yeah, we'll have our MVP and our All-Pro teams for that stuff, guys, next week, because this week I was just too busy. My MVP candidates right now are Closer, Someday, and Inspired right now. And also someone said, what about on COG, because they have been performing very well. I think Luger could also come into to the MVP conversation. I don't know if you would pick. I don't know, because is Luger the X factor for COG? I don't know, but I know from watching these games that you could put Bwipo in the conversation for MVP as much as he's been good for Team Liquid this past split. But that's just how I personally see it, honestly. But in terms of Closer, Someday, and Inspired, those are my MVP candidates right now. If I had to pick another dark horse, Luger or Bwipo will be kind of one of them. But that's just how I see it personally. I think 100 Thieves right now should definitely win the split. I really don't see a World EG win another title. I'm not saying they're bad, guys. I'm not saying they're bad. They did have a good split. They played really well, but did they play as good as 100 Thieves? I don't think so. Some of their games, they were really questionable. I don't think they've been getting punished enough as other teams could have punished them. I think that the bot lane still has not a lot of question marks. Their bot lane's just not as good as their record represents. But them being first place is not bad. I just think that if the teams with the other amount of better players in the league could punish them at just anything, I don't think they would be the first place team, honestly, right now. A lot of people right now are going to go, man, you're really hyping up 100 Thieves. No, I'm just saying that throughout the last games I've seen, I think 100 Thieves have just looked better. And even in their rematch, EG definitely lost to 100 Thieves when they got punished. So that's just kind of how I see it personally myself. Chaz says, from what I've seen, 100 Thieves' biggest issue is early game. FBI starts slow. Abadage takes too many unnecessary risks. And 100 Thieves versus TL was a battle where jungle and mid lane games picked up. Okay. My thing here is if 100 Thieves keeps up their good early game that they've had, because their bad early game only really came from these last few games, actually. They had a pretty good early game against CLG. Still, their early game can still be pretty good. It just depends on which comp they're on. Their comp against Team Liquid, TL definitely should have won that game. But their team fighting with that team comp was a bit better as the game went on. People got to factor in the 100 Thieves team comp they had against that TL game was just better as the game kept wrapping up, you know? So that's just me personally right now. Let's do our predictions for playoffs right now because the regular season is over. It's all about playoffs right now, guys. All about the playoffs. All right. On Saturday, coming up this week, TL versus Flyquest. Who you got?
TL 3-1. They're going to make Worlds just because they made upper bracket and are going to get the weaker teams probably. And even though they really shouldn't, but, you know, that's what I think. But, yeah, anyway, 3-1 TL, and then I'll go 3-2 CLG. And then...
That's it? That's only games this week?
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know for... Okay, sure.
TL versus... Oh, God. That's the thing. I could see a world where Flyquest upset Team Liquid. I could definitely see it. I think, looking at it, I think Flyquest have a better grasp of what they want to do in the game as opposed to TL consistently not drafting very well. I think if you look at it pound for pound, player to player, I think Takuli could match Bjergsen. I think the edge TL have is probably their bot lane, right? You also have the biggest X factor right now is Bwipo gapping Philip in a BO5 scenario, right? I think TL will beat Flyquest, but I don't think it'll be as one-sided as some people are making it out to be. I think personally right now, I would probably go TL over Flyquest 3-2, actually. I think TL will win 3-2, but I think if Flyquest face TSM, I think next week they're just going to beat the shit out of them anyway.
Oh, okay, Polo, if Golden Guardians makes Worlds, I'll tie a noose and hang myself.
Oh, also, fun fact, as of right now, Golden Guardians have a better chance of making Worlds than Team Vitality. That is definitely fact. Oh, shit. CLG versus Cloud9. Ooh, God.
I mean, yeah.
This is such a 50-50 toss-up. Right now, just if you go off just their last week performance, it's wow. I think it'll be I think both these series are gonna go the distance. That's what I think. Do I factor C9 in over CLG? Fuck. Holy shit. Well, Intensive, Hoon's not going to be at Worlds. He's going to be sitting home beating off in front of his computer for the next, few months, actually.
Holy fuck.
Oh, my God. I just don't... What the hell?
Oh, shit. Somebody's trying to kill you. Okay.
I'm going to jail.
Oh, so I will say quickly, because... was it Thomas, said, listen, the reason why Kai'Sa mid will probably not come into the meta is just because the Nocturne mid with Kai'Sa bot lane is just infinitely better for that strategy.
Okay.
Anyway, done. But anyway, so what's your prediction?
Oh my God. Fuck. I think C9 is going to end up taking it, but if CLG takes it, I'm not surprised. I think consistently over the split, I think CLG has looked better. But that isn't BO1 scenarios. Because remember, CLG has essentially not nothing to play for because they're playing for going to Worlds. CLG essentially has no pressure to perform very well. All the pressure is pretty much on Cloud9 to perform very well. If we're just being honest with ourselves. I think C9 is going to take it. I think TL will beat Flyquest, actually. TL beats Flyquest 3-2, and I think Cloud9 edges it out 3-2. I think it's going to be a back and forth between both these BO5s. There's actually some pretty good BO5s we should be treated to this week. But yeah, guys, that is it. I'm probably going to end up going to the later showing because right now I'm hungry and I kind of don't really want to get off my chair and go down to the movie theater right now.
I intentionally dragged this out so then you would miss the first showing.
I mean, I could make it right now if I really went, but I just want to eat and just chill for a bit.
The only pop-off
What's up,
games BTO had in his career were all against Fnatic. It's, I mean, I disagree with that. I mean, did you see the G2 game?
What's up, Z Reacts? What's up, man? Have you guys noticed that the only pop-up games Vethio had in his career? Definitely not. I don't know. That's
no.
That's
again. Watch the Akali G2 game.
No, he's had a lot of pop-up games this split, man. Or just not even just this split. He's had a lot of pop-up games last split as well. But could you say that he's had those 1v9 performances against Fnatic? Probably.
I mean, sure, but not the only ones. I mean,
but even just when they, not the tiebreaker game, the game before the tiebreaker game that they faced off against, he didn't have a pop-up game then either, you know? I think Vethio's looked good all year. Vethio's definitely going to a better team in this offseason if Misfits don't make Worlds. That, like, let's be honest here, he's not going to stay with that organization, whoever he gets picked up by, at all, you know? Misfits is not going to be in the LEC, and he'll definitely have really amazing offers from other orgs anyway. Which org he goes to, I don't know. What if Vethio joined Fnatic? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lordy. That'd be crazy.
That would be, I don't know. That would be something, but, God, anyway, you're such an asshole, by the way. You know, why did you trash on your supports the other stream?
I did not. In the game they won in the tiebreaker, he got... Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, they played very well.
Well, yes, but it wasn't the only game. I don't know
that's definitely not the only game he's popped off.
He wouldn't have won it over Hylissane if that was the case.
It's not even just that. You can go back and watch all the games from the split. He's had a really... Literally, there's a reason why people are saying that he should probably repeat MVP win. He's such a really valuable player to that team. Honestly, he'll probably end up being my MVP again, but that's just me personally, you know? But you're only looking at the games against Fnatic. You got to look at all the games. If we're talking just from this split alone, he still makes a very good case to win MVP, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, so you see the other stream, MSK was playing like, you know, solo queue and shit with Thomas, and he was really shitting on his supports. You know, and it was really mean, man, all right? Like, listen, Mersa was put timeout on his team for playing too much Yumi, so he needed to do well with you. I don't know why you're being so harsh to him, MSK.
I'm
just
nice.
Trying his best.
I'm a nice guy. I think.
No, you are not.
Well, who come on much right now? Oh, dude. Give me a sec.
Anyway, listen, don't listen to that cracker, MSK. All right, Claire, obviously I did not think Flyquest was going 0-3. I just predicted it as an upset prediction, and since it would make sense with my overall predictions, yes, I knew
I'm not saying Flyquest is the best team, but I'm saying you've been always underrating how strong the team is in like certain players.
No, I haven't. You have. I've always said they're good. I said that even though
you said they were always good, but you predict them to go 0-3. You fucking bastard.
I said Kumo and Philip are solid, probably the best, like out of the weakest NA top laners. I said Takuli would be fucking fantastic. I said Jose Diota would be very good, and I said even though the bot lane's not good, their chemistry would make them solid, and I said they would be a good team at least around 5th.
Also, fuck you. Also, Z Reacts, I don't know why Misfits gave Fnatic Zeri. If they didn't give Fnatic Zeri, there's a good chance Fnatic wouldn't be in playoffs. That's super scary to think about. Yes, Fnatic did win the games that mattered, unlike SK Gaming Warren. But they lost that tiebreaker game, and now that they lost that tiebreaker game, they have to go in the lower bracket against XL. That's the thing. That's going to be very crazy to think about, you know? My thing here with the playoffs is we'll have to see how it goes. There's some really interesting playoff games coming up for both LEC and the LCS, actually. I have Flyquest winning 3-2. Yeah, see, I was going to predict Flyquest too, because my thing is the difference between Team Liquid and Flyquest that insurmountable right now after what we just saw from Team Liquid? That's why I predicted 3-2 for TL. That's why I predicted 3-2.
Team Liquid is the same sort of deal with like LCK teams such as Damwon when they somehow beat KT last night, which is that even though they're playing worse, you know, it's NA, so, you know, their player gap is going to somehow pull through even though they're the worst team. That's usually the case with Team Liquid. So that's just what I think. and I really don't think Jose Diodo is going to do that good in playoffs.
What in the world? Holy shit. We're going to have to talk about this on the Nightwing podcast.
Anyway, Flyquest should beat Team Liquid. Like, again,
Flyquest, if you look at just this split alone, from what we just saw, Flyquest should beat them.
No, because Team Liquid, the only reason why they're third, again, is because of the early wins. If Cloud9 didn't have that bot lane in the first week, they would be ahead of them. CLG would be ahead of them. Flyquest, if they didn't go on that slump, would be ahead of them. Like, it's literally... They're literally like the 16th, and they're probably gonna make Worlds though, just because they're gonna pull through some wacky shit, and just because of where their seeding is.
I think I just had a fattest orgasm ever.
What the fuck are you looking at?
Nothing. Okay. Back week. Yeah. no. We love Warren, but his predictions are straight up garbage.
Well, I mean, SK is gonna make playoffs.
SK. Okay. Warren had the first day where SK Gaming got that upset win because they played Shyvana top again or whatever they did. They got the one win, but SK Gaming to get in playoffs had to win all the games. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. They got the first day's win, and then they started going to the shitter.
Yeah,
that's how it
holy
works.
Fuck. I mean, God, would you say that Fnatic making Worlds is a possibility again now?
Fuck.
Them going on like a lower bracket run again.
I have to. Fuck.
Because again, it was literally just upset that carried them across the finish line. And it was mainly because of Zeri. So I mean,
like you saw when they banned out Zeri, he didn't look like. I mean, he's a bad player, but he can't have that level of carry potential. You know.
Yeah, but I gotta say, Australis could have competed for that playoff spot, but they lost crucial games. They lost crucial games and left the first half of the split they should have won. And then the last week, John Hoon decided to pull a Miffy there with the Bard.
That
was holy fuck. That shit and the other thing he did in the game prior might honestly make him lose his LEC spot next year out of recency bias from GMs that they did with like Shadow on Mad lines that one year, despite looking like one of the best junglers in the LEC.
That's a Fnatic either make Worlds actually, because right now in the LCS, despite what people say about the LCS, it is competitive right now. It's not a 3-horse team. It's not a 3-team like it used to be for a little bit right now. It's that narrative actually hasn't been a narrative for quite some time now in the LCS.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a world I could see CLG getting to Worlds. It's just I like that. I don't like how it's always set in stone. Like back for EU, it's always been G2 Fnatic. I like how it's changed over the years. It's not a set in stone thing. It's like there's going to be some shakeup there because if there's no shakeup ever, that does get kind of boring though. But if the other teams aren't playing good enough to challenge, then that's kind of like their fault. But that's it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go get some food. I'm fucking starving. I'll be going to watch Dragon Ball Superhero at the
you're starving for views, right?
Hell yeah. But we're gonna have the LEC show Tuesday. We're gonna have the LCS show on Tuesday coming up because the playoffs for the LCS losers bracket start on Thursday. So we'll have the newest LCS episode this week coming up on Tuesday. Okay, Tuesday. You have to keep that in mind. It's gonna be on Tuesday, and the LEC, their playoffs are gonna begin on this Friday, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Fuck. I gotta do some more prep. There's more prep.
Anyway, again, talk about it more on that Tuesday, obviously. But I'm saying, as crazy as it was that Vitality missed, and they really shouldn't have over XL, they got really lucky and side of the draft.
Dude,
like fucking idiots. To be fair, at the end of the day, I mean, with what we predicted them at the start of the year, we did say 7th and XL
we did say 6th to 7th.
Yeah, we said XL 6th and Vitality 7th.
We looked out pretty hard there. We looked out really hard.
This seems to always happen. It's like in the middle of the season, we're like in chaos. Like, what the fuck's going on? By the end, honestly, usually levels out.
Yeah, true. That's true. The playoffs for the LEC, they start not this Friday, but the next one. So, yeah, Tuesday, LCS this week coming up, and we'll have Wednesday, it'd be the LEC. Man, these playoff games for LEC are bangers. Rogue versus Mad Lions, G2 versus Misfits, Fnatic versus XL. If Fnatic is in the lower bracket, guys. So Fnatic loses to Excel. They're done. It's over. It's done. Misfits did their job. They put Fnatic in the lower bracket. Sam Matthews was all happy that they fucking won those games. It's like, yeah. Are you happy that your team is not going to be in losers bracket?
Yeah. Zanzara kicked them into losers bracket. That's
Zanzara's not even good. Zanzara's not even. He's bad. He's actually horrible. How is he? Fuck. Shit.
It's because of the meta. So he's better than fucking Schlapp hunting his ass off on Lee Sin.
That's how bad the LEC can be sometimes. Is you just have to be a bit better than a guy who's already dog shit to get a spot on.
Like seriously, how did Schlapp win rookie? I'm not saying he was bad. He was serviceable with like VTO with what he needed, but he was for the most part literally just surviving and pretty much just like VTO's ward, especially then in summer. He was literally just like a Svenskeren on like Lee Sin and shit, just inting his ass off being a ward for him. I really don't understand how he won rookie to split over other options, like any others.
He's actually bad. He's actually abysmal. Watching his games is hard. I'm like, how is this guy doing anything? Is he that? People say it's shot calling. Imagine shitty shot calling he did on Astralis is working on Misfits because they're just new players. Imagine if Zanzara makes Worlds. Oh, that's the freest group ever.
Yeah, that's seriously.
On the day Armis's new photo shoot pictures came out.
Okay, I don't care. I mean, it is absolutely sad how it's sad enough how you know nothing, like literally nothing about the actual real life character person she's playing. But it's even sadder how you're then simping over the film you know nothing about and nothing about the director's previous work, which is pretty amazing just because it's on the day Armis. I'll get
my information from Reddit. I heard that place is pretty credible.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's better than all the news sites.
That's my thing about biopics. I usually pretty much for most I don't know much about what the biopic is for the person that they're around. I usually just go into it going for what the movie gives. If it's good and it's just whatever,
I'm just saying if you wanted to check out the director's what he did before, if you want, just watch the Assassination of Jesse James. It has Brad Pitt's in it and Casey Affleck. The better Affleck by far. Pretty amazing film, honestly. But the others you don't really need to watch. Not that known, so.
All right, anyone who's watching on the replay, I want to repeat this one more time. LCS is Tuesday this week coming up. Then it's going to be LEC. Okay, we should have our all pro teams done, but depends on my work schedule because I'm pretty fucking busy right now, guys. But yeah, we always have some awesome viewers coming in. I enjoy all the viewers that we have, big or small, doesn't matter to me. You're here watching, giving me your time of the day, and that's all that matters. Big or small, it don't mean shit.
Yeah. So LCS Wednesday, right?
LCS Tuesday. Fuck you. All right, subscribe if you're new. Please, helps out a lot. I'll be getting a new logo and a new channel banner. I'll be getting that sorted out later on tonight when I commission the guy to do it for me. That should be all done by the time you see the channel next week when you come back for a show. All that should be done. New intro, outro, and they get a new logo and a new banner. But the new logo and banner come first, then the intro and outro. So we're gonna have an intro and outro to play on the show when we get to season 5, because that's what I do for my shows. If I don't start out the season with an intro or outro, I'll simply just do that with the following season. So starting season 5, we'll have an intro and an outro for the show, which will be the new intro and outro for the channel's videos in general when I'm doing pre-recorded content, when it involves news videos related to League of Legends, actually. But yeah, I like the new name change. Pretty good. Thank you guys for being here. See you guys later. Goodbye. See you guys next week on Tuesday. Peace out.